I don't know when exactly my marriage began to feel like a cage. Maybe it happened slowly, one unspoken disappointment at a time, until the walls grew so tight around me that even breathing felt like a burden. But if you asked my husband, Adam, he'd probably say everything was fine. Perfect. Even. He was always good at believing the version of reality that felt safest. For years, I played along. I played the role of the supportive wife, the dependable partner, the woman who kept the house clean, the calendar full, and the peace intact. I smiled at the right moments. I nodded when he talked about work. I pretended not to notice when he was too tired, too busy, or too distracted for me. But inside, I was quietly falling apart. And that's when Daniel appeared. He wasn't supposed to mean anything to me. He was just a friend at first, a coworker I met during a short project I was assigned to. He had this calm energy, like he really listened when I talked. Not the way Adam listened out of obligation, but the way someone listens because they genuinely want to understand. The first time he asked, "Are you happy?" I laughed it off. I said of course I was. But my voice cracked, and I didn't know why. He noticed. And from that moment, something between us shifted. I didn't fall in love with him overnight. It was slower than that, more dangerous than that. It was in the tiny moments. The way he remembered my favorite tea, the way he texted to ask if I got home safely, the way he stood just a little too close when we talked. Then one day, after a meeting, he held the door for me and said softly, "You deserve to feel alive." That sentence stayed with me for days. I should have walked away. I should have ignored the warmth in my chest, the spark in my stomach, the way my heart whispered, "Someone finally sees you." But I didn't. I let myself drift toward him because drifting felt easier than confronting the truth, that my marriage had become a hollow shell, and I was terrified to admit it. The night everything changed happened on a Tuesday. Adam came home early. That was unusual. He normally worked late, always chasing the next promotion, always glued to his phone. But that day, he walked into the house at 6 p.m., dropping his briefcase at the door with a heavy thud. I flinched like I'd been caught doing something wrong. And I hadn't even done anything yet. "Hey," he said, forcing a tired smile. "Thought I'd surprise you. Maybe we could grab dinner? Just the two of us." He sounded sincere. He sounded like a man trying. And for a moment, guilt twisted in my chest so hard I almost couldn't breathe. "Sure," I said, managing a smile. "That sounds nice." But deep down, I felt the distance between us like a canyon. And no matter how hard he tried that night, asking questions, complimenting my dress, telling me he missed spending time together, my heart stayed numb. Because part of it wasn't his anymore. Part of it already belonged to someone else. 2 weeks later, I made the biggest mistake of my life. I invited Daniel to the house. Yes, my house, my marriage home, the place where my vows still echoed in the walls. Adam had a company dinner that night, a mandatory one, he'd said, and he wouldn't be home until late. At least, that was the plan. I shouldn't have risked it. I shouldn't have been foolish enough to think I could control anything. But desire makes people blind. Loneliness makes people reckless. And Daniel made me feel alive in a way I hadn't felt in years. He arrived just after 8 p.m., wearing that soft navy sweater he knew I liked. I remember how my hands trembled when I let him in, how his touch steadied me, how my pulse raced like I was doing something forbidden and thrilling. At the same time, we sat together on the couch first, talking, really talking, and for a moment, the guilt slipped away. He told me about his day, asked about mine, brushed a strand of hair behind my ears like he had every right to do it. And then he whispered, "I can't stay away from you anymore." My breath hitched, and I let him kiss me. If I had known Adam was standing outside the living room window, I think my heart would have stopped on the spot, because that's exactly where he was. Watching. Frozen. Silent. I didn't see him. Not yet. I didn't hear the gravel crunch under his shoes when he stepped back. I didn't hear his breath tremble. I didn't hear the sound of betrayal tearing something inside him apart. But I would. Soon. Because 10 minutes later, just when Daniel and I were moving closer, just when his hands were on my waist and my pulse was pounding in my ears, the front door slammed open. A sound so violent, so sudden, it sliced through the air like a blade. I jumped back. Daniel froze. And standing in the doorway was Adam. His face was twisted, not with sadness or confusion, but with a rage so cold it drained the blood from my body. He didn't blink. He didn't breathe. He didn't move. He just stared at us like he was seeing two strangers. Two enemies. Two people who had destroyed him. Stand up, he said to Daniel, his voice low and shaking. Daniel swallowed hard. Adam, listen, I said. Adam repeated, stepping closer. Stand up. I knew that voice. I had heard frustration. I had heard anger. But I had never, ever heard this tone from him. This was something darker. Something dangerous. I opened my mouth to speak, to explain, to say anything. But before I could make a sound, Adam locked eyes with me and said something that made my blood turn to ice. So this is the man you've been sneaking around with. My heart dropped. My mouth went dry. My knees nearly buckled. He knew. He had known for longer than I realized. And the look in his eyes told me this wasn't the first time he'd suspected it. No, this was the night he came to confirm it. And he had caught us perfectly. Then Adam took a slow step forward. And another. And another. Until he was standing inches from Daniel. His jaw clenched. His fists tightened. His chest rose and fell like he was barely holding himself back. And then he whispered, almost too quietly to hear, "You have 5 seconds to explain why I shouldn't break you." And that was the moment I realized I had no idea what my husband was capable of. Cliffhanger. Adam took another step closer, his fist lifting, just as Daniel whispered something that made Adam's entire expression change. Conflict begins. Adam's fist hovered in the air, tight enough that his knuckles turned white. His whole body shook, barely contained, like a storm seconds away from breaking loose. And then Daniel whispered it, a single sentence. A sentence that sliced through the air and hit Adam like a physical blow. "She told me you stopped loving her years ago." The room went still. Adam's fist slowly lowered, not because he forgave him, not even close, but because shock flickered across his face. His mouth twitched. His eyes narrowed. For a second, he looked more confused than angry. Then his gaze snapped to me. "You told him that." His voice cracked, not with weakness, but with something far more dangerous. "You told this man I didn't love you?" I swallowed, my throat burning. "Adam, it wasn't like that." "That's not exactly what I said." "Then what did you say, Claire?" His voice rose, ragged and sharp. "Because I'd love to hear how you spun our marriage to your boyfriend." The word boyfriend hit like a slap. Daniel opened his mouth again, but Adam cut him off with a glare so cold it could freeze fire. "No. You," he said, pointing at him. "Not one more word. And don't you dare take a step in my house." Daniel slowly raised both hands, showing he wasn't trying to escalate things. I stepped between them, not because I thought Daniel was in danger, but because I wasn't sure what Adam might do next. "Adam, please," I whispered. "We need to talk calmly." "Oh, now you want to talk?" He laughed, a short, bitter sound. "You should have talked before you dragged another man into our home." The shame hit me like a tidal wave. He had every right to be furious. He had every right to hate me. But guilt wasn't the only thing twisting in my chest. Fear was there too. Because the way Adam looked at Daniel wasn't normal anger. It was something wild, unbalanced, fueled by betrayal and humiliation. "Adam," I said again, "please. Let's go upstairs and talk privately." Daniel will leave. But Daniel didn't move. He stood there silently, his jaw clenched, as if waiting for Adam to explode again. Adam turned back to him. "Get out." Daniel hesitated. "Claire, go," I said quickly, my voice trembling. "Please, Daniel. I'll call you later." Adam's head whipped toward me. "No, you won't." Daniel looked at me with concern, real concern, but he nodded and slowly backed toward the door. Adam didn't take his eyes off him. Not once. Not until the door clicked shut. And then the house fell dead silent. The moment Daniel was gone, Adam sank onto the couch, burying his hands in his hair. For the first time that night, he didn't look angry. He looked broken. "I came home," he said quietly, "because I wanted to fix things." His voice sounded nothing like the man who had burst through the door minutes earlier. It was softer, almost defeated. "I've been working so much. I know I failed you. I know I haven't been present." His shoulders shook. "But I wanted to make it right, Claire. I wanted us to be okay again." A knot formed in my throat. I felt tears prick my eyes. "Adam," I whispered, sitting beside him. "I never wanted to hurt you." He didn't look at me. Not yet. I took a slow breath. I felt alone. For so long. And I didn't know how to reach you anymore. "Then why didn't you say something?" he murmured. "Why didn't you tell me you were unhappy?" "I tried," I whispered. "But you always brushed it off. Or worked late. Or told me I was overthinking." He closed his eyes. His jaw clenched again, but softly this time. After a long moment, he said, I would have listened. If you told me you were lonely, I would have changed everything. I hesitated. I didn't think you cared enough to change, I admitted. His eyes finally opened. He looked at me with an expression so wounded. It made my chest ache. That's what hurts the most, he whispered. That after everything we've built, you thought I didn't care. A tear ran down my cheek. But before I could respond, his expression hardened again. Still, he said, voice tighter, that doesn't justify cheating. It doesn't justify bringing him here, into our home. I lowered my head. I know. And how long, Claire? His voice rose again. How long has this been going on? I hesitated. Too long. His eyes flashed. How long? 2 months, I finally whispered. His breath caught. 2 months of lies. 2 months of secrets. 2 months of me slipping away. He stood up slowly, staring at me like he didn't recognize me anymore. I want you to pack a bag, he said quietly. You're leaving tonight. My heart jumped. What? I don't know. He shook his head. I can't look at you right now. I can't even think straight. I need you gone before I do something I regret. The threat in his voice wasn't about violence. It was about rage, pain, heartbreak. But where will I go? I whispered. I don't care, he said, his voice cracking. Just not here. He walked toward the staircase, dragging a hand down his face. I'm going to shower. When I come down, you better be gone. He didn't wait for my reply. He didn't look back. He just climbed the stairs, each step heavier than the last. A moment later, I heard the bathroom door slam shut. I sank onto the couch, my heart pounding, my mind spinning. I looked around the living room, the pictures, the books, the little pieces of our life together, the life I had damaged beyond repair. I didn't know what to do. Call Daniel? Stay and fight? Leave everything behind? I buried my face in my hands, trembling. Then, suddenly, my phone buzzed. I thought it was Daniel, but when I looked at the screen, my stomach flipped. It was a message from an unknown number. A message that made my blood run cold. You think Adam is the only one who knows? He's not. I've been watching you for weeks. And tonight, things are just getting started. I froze. I stared at the message again and again, my heart racing faster with every second. Who was this? How long had they been watching? And what did they want from me? The phone buzzed again. Another message. Short, terrifying. Don't leave the house. And that was when I realized this wasn't just about cheating anymore. Someone else was involved. Someone dangerous. A shadow moved outside the window, slowly, deliberately, like someone was standing just beyond the glass, watching me. Betrayal revealed. The shadow outside the window didn't move like a passing stranger or a drifting tree branch caught by the wind. No, this shadow was heavy. Intentional. It hovered. Watching. My breath hitched as I froze in place, clutching my phone so tightly my fingers went numb. I stared at the glass, barely daring to blink. Was someone actually out there? Or was it just my guilt playing tricks on me? But then it moved again. Slowly, deliberately. My pulse hammered in my ears. I took a shaky step back, my mind spinning. Adam was upstairs. The shower was running. He had no idea what was happening down here. And given the state he was in, he probably wouldn't have believed me even if I told him. I glanced at the message again. Don't leave the house. A chill swept down my spine. Every instinct in me screamed to run, to grab my bag and bolt out the door. But something about the way the message was written made my stomach twist. Whoever this was. They wanted me scared. They wanted me trapped. Another buzz. I nearly dropped the phone. Unknown. Turn around. My heart jumped into my throat. I spun, half expecting someone to be standing behind me. But the living room was empty. Silent. Still. Then came another message. Unknown. Look at the window again. My eyes jerked back, and this time, the shadow didn't hide. A figure leaned closer to the glass. Just enough for me to see the outline of a face. Not the features. Just the shape. A silhouette. Then, tap. A single tap of a knuckle on the glass. I gasped and staggered backward. No. No, no, no. This wasn't real. It couldn't be real. The figure stood there for a long, unbearable moment, and then melted into the darkness, slipping out of sight. But whoever it was, they hadn't gone far. I felt it. I knew it. My hands shook violently as I dialed Adam's number. From upstairs, I heard his phone vibrate on the bathroom counter. He didn't pick up. Of course he didn't. He hated me. He didn't want to hear my voice. Not tonight. I had no choice. I rushed up the stairs, nearly tripping as I reached the top. My voice cracked as I knocked on the bathroom door. Adam, please, I need to talk to you. The water kept running. Adam, I pounded harder. Someone is outside the house. The shower stopped abruptly. A few seconds later, the door opened. Adam stepped out, dripping, a towel around his waist, eyes still hardened from the earlier fight. What? He said sharply. What do you mean someone's outside? I shoved my phone toward him. Look. These messages, they're from someone who's been watching us. Watching me. He scanned the screen. His entire face changed. Not with sympathy. Not with fear. Not with protectiveness. But with suspicion. Cold, sharp suspicion. Let me guess. He said slowly. This is from Daniel. What? No. Why would he? Because he knows he's losing you, Adam snapped. Because he knows I kicked him out. Because he wants to scare you into leaving with him. No. I insisted desperately. This isn't him. You wouldn't do something like this. Adam scoffed. You don't know what people do when they're desperate. I shook my head. You didn't see the shadow outside the window. He stiffened. Shadow? I nodded quickly. Someone was standing there, watching me. His jaw locked. Without another word, he brushed past me and stormed down the stairs. I followed, heart racing. He walked straight to the living room window and peered outside. Nothing. The yard was empty. The driveway was empty. The street was quiet. Claire, he said firmly. There's no one here. I swear. You're scared. You're guilty. You're imagining things. I'm not imagining the messages. Adam grabbed the phone again, scrolling through them. His eyes narrowed. Anyone can send text from an unknown number. It's probably Daniel using a burner app. My stomach sank. He didn't believe me. Not a single word. Adam, please. I pleaded. At least lock the doors. Check outside. Just look around. No. His voice was cold, unyielding. I'm done reacting to your chaos. Done letting your lies control this house. His words hit like daggers. He stepped away, grabbing his clothes from a nearby chair. I'm going to sleep in the guest room. You pack your things and leave. I flinched. You can't be serious. Oh, I am, he snapped. You want to cheat? Fine. But you don't get to stay in this house one more night. He turned and walked away. I stood there trembling, tears blurring my vision. He didn't care that someone might be watching. He didn't care I was scared. He just wanted me gone. I sank onto the couch, clutching my phone. The silence felt suffocating. Every shadow in the room seemed darker. Every creak in the house made my heart leap. Finally, I forced myself to stand. Pack a bag. Leave. Just leave. I was halfway to the stairs when my phone buzzed again. My hands went cold. I lifted it slowly. And when I saw the next message, my breath caught in my throat. Unknown. Don't go upstairs. I froze. A second message came immediately after. Unknown. Adam is lying to you. My chest tightened. Another message. Then another. He knows more than he's telling you. Ask him where he really was tonight. He's been watching you longer than I have. My knees weakened. My vision blurred. What? What was this? Then the final message appeared, a picture. A picture that made horror flood through me so fast I nearly dropped the phone. It was a photo, taken through our living room window. A photo of me and Daniel earlier that night. But not just any angle. No. This photo was taken from inside our yard. From someone who was close. Too close. And what made my heart stop? Adam was clearly visible in the background, standing at the side of the house. Staring. Watching. Hours before he caught us. My blood ran cold. Everything inside me went silent. If this photo was real, Adam hadn't just seen us by accident. He hadn't come home early to fix things. He had been hiding outside, watching us. For how long? And if the unknown sender knew this, who the hell were they? Before I could move, a floorboard upstairs creaked, followed by Adam's slow, deliberate footsteps approaching the top of the staircase. Adam's footsteps moved across the upstairs hallway, slow, heavy, deliberate. Not the footsteps of a man getting ready for bed. No. They were the steps of someone who knew I'd seen something I wasn't supposed to. My heart thudded painfully as I stared at the photo on my phone again. Adam outside the house. Watching earlier. Watching long before he burst in like a betrayed husband. The unknown messages. The shadow at the window. Adam's suspicious calmness. None of this made sense. I took a shaky breath. Ask him where he really was tonight. The sender's words echoed in my mind. I swallowed hard and forced myself to speak. Adam? My voice trembled despite my best effort. Can we talk? Silence. Then the slow creak of another floorboard, closer this time. He was at the top of the stairs. Adam? I called again louder. Please. I need to ask you something. Another step. Then he spoke, but not the Adam voice I knew. Not hurt. Not angry. Not heartbroken. His voice was calm. Too calm. What is it, Claire? I froze. Every instinct inside me screamed that something was wrong. Very wrong. I held the phone tighter. I got another message, I said cautiously. From the same number. Silence. Then, what did it say? I hesitated. If I told him the truth, and if he was lying, I'd be exposing the fact that someone knew his secret. So I lied. It said to be careful, that someone is watching the house. More silence. Then the soft sound of him descending the stairs. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. He didn't rush. He didn't panic. He didn't react the way a normal man would if someone threatened his home. He just kept coming down. I stepped back instinctively. When he reached the bottom, he stopped on the last step. His eyes locked on mine, cold, calculating. Let me see the message. My stomach twisted. I deleted it, I lied. His jaw tightened. Just barely. You deleted a threatening message? He stepped closer. That doesn't make much sense, does it? I swallowed. I panicked. Another step. Or, he said softly, you're lying. The air thickened between us. A terrifying realization slid into my mind. Adam didn't look shocked. He didn't look confused. He didn't look concerned. He looked like a man waiting for me to say the wrong thing. Why didn't you leave yet? He asked suddenly. I wanted to talk. About what? I didn't answer. I couldn't. He narrowed his eyes. You're hiding something. I clenched my hands to stop them from shaking. You were outside earlier, I whispered before I could stop myself. His face didn't change. Not one muscle moved. I continued, voice cracking. Before you came inside, you were already watching. The photo. Photo? He interrupted sharply. What photo? My breath caught. He stepped closer. Show me. I shook my head. No. His nostrils flared. Claire, show me the damn photo. No. I backed up. Tell me the truth first. His face darkened. Fine, he said through clenched teeth. You want the truth? Here it is. I came home earlier than I said. I suspected something. You've been different for weeks. So yes, I checked around the house. I looked through the window. My blood went cold. Why didn't you come inside? I whispered. Because I wanted to see if I was right, he said, voice sharp. And I was. He stepped closer again. And maybe I wanted to see if your betrayal was as bad as it felt. Adam, don't. He held up a hand. Don't try to twist this. Don't pretend you're the victim now. I'm not. You cheated, he snapped, the calm cracking for a moment. You lied. For 2 months. I swallowed hard. Then who took the photo? The angle wasn't yours. Someone else was there. For a moment, his expression flickered. Just a moment. But I saw it. Something like recognition. Or fear. Or guilt. Then he smoothed his face and shook his head. Probably Daniel. Who else would want to torment you? Daniel wouldn't do this, I said firmly. How would you know? Adam counted. You barely know him. I nodded slowly. Exactly. Which means he barely knows me. Or you. He wouldn't know where you were standing. He wouldn't know what you were doing outside. Adam opened his mouth, then closed it again. He didn't have a good comeback. A cold wave washed over me. Adam. My voice wavered. Is someone else involved in this? Of course not. Then why do these messages sound like the person knows you too? He stiffened. His eyes darted, just for a millisecond, toward the backyard window. And that was when my heart dropped. He knew. He knew something. Something he wasn't telling me. I stepped back. Who is it, Adam? No one. Are you being blackmailed? No. Threatened? No. Followed? No. His sudden outburst made me flinch. He dragged a hand through his hair, pacing. This is exactly why I told you to leave. Everything was bad enough before you started spinning conspiracies. It's not a conspiracy, I shouted back. Someone's watching us. Before Adam could respond, my phone buzzed again. Another message. We both froze. The sound cut through the room like a blade. Slowly, cautiously, I lifted the phone. Adam stepped forward, trying to see the screen. I turned away. My eyes widened as I read the newest message. Unknown. Ask Adam why he sent me to follow you. My blood turned to ice. A second message followed instantly. Ask him how long he's been paying me. A third. Ask him who he thought you were cheating with before Daniel ever existed. I felt the room spin. Everything tilted. Everything blurred. Adam whispered, Claire, what does it say? I turned slowly toward him, my heart pounding so hard I could barely breathe. Adam, I whispered, voice trembling. Who did you hire to follow me? His face drained of color. Claire, listen. No, I said, stepping back. You followed me. You had me watched. Before Daniel. Before everything. He opened his mouth, guilt flooding his eyes. I can explain. But before he could speak, another message came through. This time, it wasn't text. It was a video. A video thumbnail showing Adam shaking hands with a man in a dark alley. And the caption, remember him now? I stared in horror. Adam stepped forward, reaching for the phone. Claire, give me that. No. I backed away. But it was too late. The front doorknob turned. Both our heads snapped toward it. The door creaked open, slowly, deliberately. A man's silhouette filled the doorway. Tall, broad, and terrifyingly calm. He stepped inside without permission and smiled. Good evening, he said softly. Miss me? Adam whispered a single word under his breath, one that shattered everything I thought I knew. You. Climax plus resolution. The man stepped fully into the house, closing the door behind him with a slow, deliberate click. The sound echoed through the living room like a warning. Adam stood rigid, jaw clenched, eyes locked on the stranger like he was staring at a living nightmare. I had never seen my husband afraid. Not when we argued. Not when he caught me with Daniel. Not even when he was breaking down earlier. But now. Fear washed across his face like a tidal wave. The stranger smirked. Long time, Adam. Adam swallowed hard. You weren't supposed to come here. Yeah. The man chuckled. That's what you said the last time too. He shifted his gaze to me. Hello, Claire. We've never officially met, but I've seen you around quite a bit. My stomach dropped. You're the one who's been watching me, I whispered. In a way, he replied casually. Though I wasn't exactly hired to spy on your romantic life. That part just came with the job. Adam took a step forward. Stop talking to her. This is between you and me. Oh, is it? The man crossed his arms. Funny, considering she's the reason you hired me in the first place. My breath caught. What? I looked at Adam. Hired you to do what? Adam shut his eyes, like bracing for impact. Claire, let me explain. No. Let me explain. The stranger interrupted with satisfaction. Your loving husband here paid me to follow you months ago. Long before Daniel. Long before anything. Adam? My voice cracked. Is that true? Adam hesitated. It was all the answer I needed. The man shrugged. He thought you were cheating back then. Turns out you weren't. But he didn't stop the surveillance. No. He doubled it. A sickening cold spread through me. You followed me for months. I whispered to Adam, voice trembling. Because you suspected something? I had reasons, Adam said. But guilt coated every word. And then, the stranger went on, like a storyteller enjoying the drama. When he finally found something real, your little fling with Daniel, he didn't fire me. No. He changed the job description. Adam gritted his teeth. That's enough, Vincent. Vincent. The name hit me like a punch. This wasn't some random stalker. This was someone Adam knew. Someone he hired. What did he hire you to do? I asked shackly. Vincent smirked. Simple. Keep an eye on Daniel. Get proof. Make sure Adam didn't overreact. He gave Adam a mocking look. But you did overreact, didn't you? You stormed in there ready to break the guy. Adam kept his eyes on the floor. And now, Vincent continued, he's trying to clean up the mess. Because he never wanted you to know about me. Or the fact that he's been spying on you. Or the fact that he already suspected you months ago. I felt like the ground beneath me was crumbling. You don't even trust me. I whispered to Adam. You never did. Adam looked up at me, eyes pleading. I was scared, Claire. I thought you were slipping away. I thought someone else was taking you from me. So you stalked me? My voice rose. You hired someone to follow me? I was losing you, he shouted. You lost me long before Daniel. I shot back, tears burning my eyes. And you never even noticed. A heavy silence fell. Vincent clapped slowly, sarcastically. Beautiful. Really. But unfortunately, we're not done. Adam's head snapped up. What do you want, Vincent? He smiled. Payment. I already paid you, Adam growled. You paid me to watch her, Vincent said calmly. Not to keep quiet about what I found. My breath stopped. What did you find? I whispered. Vincent's smile widened. Oh, lots of things. He walked slowly around the room, glancing at photos, decorations, little details of our life. Old secrets. New ones. Things you both should have talked about years ago. Turning back to Adam, his voice sharpened. But I also found something else. Something you've been hiding even from yourself. Adam stiffened. Don't. But Vincent continued anyway. You weren't just suspicious because Claire felt distant. You were suspicious because you… Stop. Adam shouted, lunging forward. Vincent didn't move. He just stared at Adam, calm, unthreatened, almost pitying. Tell her, Vincent said softly, or I will. I looked between them, heart pounding. Tell me what? Adam's face twisted with pain. Claire, please. No more lies, I whispered. What have you been hiding? Adam closed his eyes like the truth physically hurt him. I wasn't faithful either. The room went silent. My breath left my body. What? I whispered. What do you mean? Adam looked sick. Months ago. Before I suspected anything with you. He cheated on you first. Vincent finished bluntly. Then panicked you'd find out. So instead of confessing, he convinced himself you were cheating. My mouth dropped open. Adam whispered. I made one mistake. One stupid mistake. And I hated myself for it. I thought if I confessed, you'd leave me. So I projected. Vincent smirked. Classic. My entire world tilted. All those nights he ignored me. All those late hours. All those moments he seemed distant, guilty, distracted. It wasn't work. It wasn't stress. It was someone else. Who was she? I asked, voice hollow. A coworker, Adam whispered. It was one night. I swear it ended there. I felt something inside me snap. You accused me, I choked. You spied on me. You humiliated me. You screamed at me. All because you cheated first. Adam's eyes filled with tears. I was terrified of losing you, he said. And then when you actually cheated, I thought I deserved it. The words cut me deeply. Maybe we both deserved everything that happened. But Vincent wasn't done. He leaned against the wall casually. So here's what's going to happen, he said. You're both going to pay me a little extra to disappear. Or I'll share these photos, these videos, these lovely recordings. My blood froze. He had recordings. Of us. Of Adam. Of Daniel. Adam stepped forward. You're blackmailing us? Oh, absolutely. The rage in Adam's eyes returned, but now it was focused differently. He lunged again, but this time, I stepped between them. Stop, I said softly but firmly. Stop this now. Both men went still. I turned to Vincent. How much? He raised an eyebrow. Claire, how much to make you disappear and never contact us again? Vincent smiled. There she is. The smart one. He leaned in and whispered the amount. My stomach twisted. It was obscene. Adam began to argue, but I held up a hand. No more fighting. No more chaos. We end this tonight. I transferred the money. Vincent verified it. And then, just before he left, he looked back at us with one last smirk. You two deserve each other, he said, chuckling. And that's the worst punishment I can think of. He walked out the door and was gone. The house fell silent. Adam collapsed onto the couch, face in his hands. I stood there, unable to move. The truth was out. All of it. Every betrayal. Every lie. Every wound. I didn't know what came next. Divorce. Distance. Or maybe nothing at all. Finally, Adam looked up at me with eyes full of guilt and devastation. Claire, he whispered, is this the end for us? I stared back at him, heart torn in two. I don't know, I said honestly, but for the first time tonight, I'm finally telling the truth. He nodded slowly, and in that moment, broken, exhausted, shattered, we both knew something undeniable. Our marriage would never be the same again, but whether it survived, that was a different story. Final cliffhanger. As I turned to walk upstairs, my phone buzzed one last time. A new message. From the same unknown number. This isn't over.